What do you want to talk about? You're the one that called this.
I am not the one that
what
called
do
this.
you... Okay, here we go.
We can think
Let's
for a
get started.
second. Well, you can think for a second. You said, hey, I want to do a podcast this week. I'll come with some fun things.
Yes.
Is what you said in the text
Right,
message I
yes.
read. Yeah.
It was. We've got some fun things planned for today.
And so your first thing you said was, hey, what do you want to talk about today?
Well,
Which
I
leads
think...
me to feel that maybe you don't have
No.
things to talk about.
I was being polite.
Oh, polite.
I've
Yeah.
got things to talk about.
Yes.
And so we could just
I'm
jump
assuming
off.
Christmas themed.
Today is our Christmas show.
Because you are Christmased out. That's very festive.
I can only wear this top really at one time of the year.
You know, yes, maybe, but I'm wearing a shirt with fireworks on it, which would typically be for 4th of July, but I don't care.
We
I wear it
know
whenever
that
I
your
want.
I give a dang is broken.
I wouldn't wear it
You're
whenever I
not
want.
too worried about it.
You know what? I want to celebrate every day of the year.
I like to celebrate every day of the year too.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a Christmas themed show today.
Okay, well then
It is a Christmas themed show.
Okay, well let's waste no time in getting right to all the things you have planned.
Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to the Almost Amazing podcast from the CityRise Network. Hosted by Jennifer Dennis and produced by me, Justin Kello. We're a podcast that was supposed to be focused on parenting, but we've kind of lost the plot along the way. Honestly, we don't know what this podcast is about, but we talk to incredible people who love Jesus, and our hope is to provide encouragement and fun whenever possible. If our lack of clear direction bothers you, we apologize, but no one is making you listen to this podcast, unless you're married to Jennifer. Andy, thanks for listening.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Almost Amazing podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited. We don't have a guest, so we can't really tease you about that. But we can tell you it's going to be a great conversation, and we're excited that you're here.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
Yes.
Well, here's what I want to begin by saying.
Okay.
We're involved in a church, so it really is a lot of Christmas activity.
Yeah.
But today I was at a little bitty, I was at the senior ladies luncheon, and Justin, you guys, for the first time since I was 8 years old, I sang a solo.
Oh, wow.
I sang a solo at the women's senior
Okay.
lunch.
You need to start charging people for performing here because you also performed a comedy show at our staff Christmas party earlier this week.
Here's what I want to talk
People
about.
are booking you and you need to start like charging a fee.
No, of course I'm not going to charge our own people a fee, but here's what I want to say. And they usually will give me a gift or something to thank me,
Sure.
which is very kind. First of all, I will say that for me singing, the last time I sang, it was in a Baptist church, small Baptist church, on a Sunday night. And if you grew up in Baptist church, you have to know that Sunday mornings were kind of the big show, and Sunday nights...
They were loose. They were loose.
That is a perfect... At the time, as a child, I did not understand that was the deal.
Yeah.
Like they had put everything into Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and you were really just getting the Thanksgiving leftovers for Christmas night.
We did a lot of requests for hymns.
Hymn request night.
The worship pastor did not come ready. He just
Can I
like,
tell
hey,
you?
just call out a number and let's do it.
Can I tell you that Sunday nights were my favorite?
Yeah.
Growing up.
They're relaxed, much more relaxed than
You
Sunday
were
morning.
much more likely to be called out personally by your pastor
Mhm.
Sunday night.
Sure.
You little joke, throw your name in there in a story.
Yeah.
That-
you would
that
be
could
more
happen.
likely or less likely?
More likely
Oh,
on
okay,
Sunday
okay.
night. Well,
Yes.
you know what I mean. Irv,
Yes,
we're out
yes,
on the
yes,
golf
yes.
court.
Yes.
How's your knee? It's
Mhm.
really personal
Yeah.
on Sunday nights. And so it was my night to sing a solo.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a duet with my sister, Julie. And we had decided this song, Jesus is the Cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember this song?
No.
I'm not sure. It's like, Jesus is the cornerstone. Pretty simple, straightforward.
Did you have your like tape accompaniment track that was?
We did have a piano player.
Oh, you had a piano
We had
player.
an accompanist.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't say that word today.
Yeah.
That we practiced the song with once.
Yeah. Okay.
Once, because it's Sunday night and she's not getting up there early for Sunday
Mhm.
night.
Sure.
So we got up to begin the song. I was nervous. I didn't realize at that age what adrenaline does to you, but it speeds everything up.
Yeah.
And it creates a lot of craziness. So here we are. All the youth are there because they always came on Sunday nights.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of rows of those
Yeah.
jokers out there.
Mhm.
And we start into this song and I get really stressed out and I start to speed up. I would say not even just double time, triple time.
Wow.
Jesus is the cornerstone. Like it's fast,
You
right?
could not find the tempo.
But my sister doesn't react to stress that way.
Mm-hmm.
A reference point on that. 2 years ago, we were cooking over the stove and the grease boiled over onto the stove and started a grease fire.
Uh-huh.
I start screaming,
Sure.
grease fire, because in my mind, the worst thing that can happen to you is a grease fire.
Yeah.
I'm like, grease fire, it's a grease fire.
Yeah.
And Julie, within my yelling, had gotten flour or some sort of powdery cornmeal, something, and put the fire out immediately.
Wow.
And this is kind of how that went. And that Julie was on track, just Jesus. She had practiced.
It makes me think about how at the staff meeting on Tuesday, we were talking about safety procedures for events.
Yes.
And they were like, hey, you need to be thinking through what you do in a case of emergency. You know, if you're, God forbid, something bad happens, you need to evacuate, whatever, you're in charge. It's like, what would you do? You know, are you the one that's going to run around and freak out? Are you the one that knows what to do? You need to figure out which person you are. It sounds like you know which person you are. You know that you're not the emergency person.
When it comes to, right. I will say that.
Like I see any one of your associates being the emergency person over
here's
you.
The deal. I've had, when he said that in the meeting, let me finish up this story about our duet.
Okay.
This is not even the shame point. I've like double timed this.
Uh-huh.
I look at my sister in the middle of this duet and yell at her, "You're messing up everything.
Oh no.
You're ruining this. Julie, you're messing up everything." And just yell at her.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
I don't know when she's ever been that mad at me.
Oh, I'm sure.
She didn't speak to me for a while.
Yeah.
We haven't done a duet together since. I don't know that she's ever returned.
Yeah.
But today was the first time. And that's what I think we should talk about, God's grace.
Did it go better?
It only took 42 years.
But did it go better this time?
I think it went well. It was a parody. So when it's a parody, I believe that the expectations are a little different.
Yeah, they are.
So you could pretty much mess it up. Everybody's laughing. But I'm so glad that's over. But back to your point on, are you the one that freaks out? I will say I do bring a lot of energy to a problem. I will say I speed up when there's a problem. I will say this though, because I am older, little old lady here, I have seen so much.
Yeah.
We have had the same things happen over and over and over again. Broken arm on the playground. And I'm not even talking about our church.
But
being here,
as a teacher.
but as a teacher, I mean, my room has caught fire.
Yeah.
Like I've been through that.
Yeah.
Like, so once that happens again, you clearly know what to do. Like, so with experience, I believe comes, oh, this is what you do. Oh, this is who you call. Oh, this is, so I believe that's kind of taken over my brain. Like,
so I shouldn't be worried about my kids being.
You don't need to be worried about your kids.
Okay.
You
great,
don't.
Great.
But I will say solo. So in the middle, after my solo, I sit down and the speaker was talking about the Grand Canyon. Have you been to the Grand Canyon?
I have flown over it, but I have not stopped.
Let me warn my listeners right now. This is going to be a little bit of a random tangent show. That's going to stress you out at the holidays.
Yeah.
You guys can move on to another show.
Sure.
But this isn't, I'm going to just say, I sent this text to Andy. You've been to the Grand Canyon, or you know?
I've flown over it, but I have not been at the rim.
Well, how about that?
I did did flight tours from Las Vegas. You can fly on a plane out and back in like 2 hours. Just like look at it.
So I wrote to Andy, I want to go to the Grand Canyon. I text him, do you want to go with me? And Andy writes, I wanted to go 10 years ago. And so Andy's been waiting for an opportunity for me to go to the Grand Canyon.
For 10 years.
Which I opened the door. And Olivia, I think, may be working in a camp in Arkansas this summer.
Okay.
I said,
it's not on the way.
Let's figure it out. Yeah. Yeah. I said, let's figure it out. Maybe while Liv is at camp, we can go see her on our way.
Okay. So you thought it was on the way.
To Andy's comment is Arkansas is not on the way to Nevada. Andy,
I love how I immediately knew.
Arkansas,
I knew where this was going.
I thought if this thing is anywhere north of us, then anywhere is pretty much on the way.
But
so
it's not north of us at all.
Where
do you think the Grand Canyon is? What state?
What do I think?
What
it's
state?
Nevada. Is it not in Nevada?
I think the North Rim is, but it's mostly in Arizona.
Oh, okay, Arizona. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to go and check it out.
Do it.
And I'm very curious. I hear it's beautiful. I hear that it is massive.
Mhm.
And so I think that's one of the bucket list item.
I love that.
Because here's the deal, Justin. I'm an empty nester now.
You can do whatever you want.
Everything's changed.
Live your best life.
And I cannot, even with an older teenage kid, there's so much difference in them being gone because you're no longer tethered.
Yeah.
Like when you have an older teenage kid, they can pop up into your day and completely reroute it without
Sure.
any heads up.
Sure.
Mom, hey, I need this for this tonight. Can you go get that? Can you go with me? Can we go get this? I need you to pick that up. Can you go get that?
Yeah.
We've got to get this. There's a game tonight. There's a game tonight. There's a
Yeah.
game tonight. Do you, we're starving. I haven't eaten. Can you take me to go eat? Can you go get me food? Can you bring it home?
Yeah.
Like the last 2 years is a lot of that mixed with why are you in my room and why are we talking?
Yes.
So this empty nest phase has really energized me to try new things.
Okay.
So I was going to tell you what some of those are.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. But what were you going to say
Oh,
first?
well, mine is not related to that at all. So I don't know how you want. Do you want to chase rabbits or do you want to stay on a trail for a little while?
Go ahead with your trail.
Listen, my trail is the most recent, really uncomfortable situation I've been in.
Oh, I think everybody would be way more interested in this.
Okay, so Thanksgiving night, I came down with a headache, and I have had that headache for days. Like today is the first day, and we're a week away. Sorry, that's when we're recording. A week removed from Thanksgiving, where the headache is finally almost gone. I went
Oh,
to
no.
So I went to urgent care on Sunday. Finally, I was like, I am not doing well, and so they prescribed some things. And one of the things they wanted to do was give me what they called a migraine cocktail, which is an injection, a shot. I was like, great, let's go for it. I'd love to do anything you think will work.
Just so we're clear, I've never heard of that.
Okay, well, it is a
But
thing.
I'm very interested.
And my head was pounding. And so I was like, let's do whatever. This is before church, before I came into church. And so they said, great. So the doctor leaves and the nurse comes back in and she's like, okay, I'm ready for your shot. And it's going to be in your bottom.
Oh, dear.
And I didn't think it was a joke, but I also didn't think it sounded right to me. I was like, this can't be. I haven't had a shot in my bottom since I was a child. And so I immediately felt like just so weird because I was like, I feel like a baby, like I feel like a child.
Let me ask you this. Were you preparing for them to put it in your head?
I thought it was going on my arm. I thought it was going to be.
It was going straight through the skull. I would have been kind of relieved, a little embarrassed, but kind of relieved because I thought they would just like stab it straight through your forehead.
But when she said bottom, it was one thing. I've never, since a child, having a shot like that. And then second, because she said the word bottom, it felt very infantile. I was like, I wish you would have at least, honestly, I wish you would have said the swear word for bottom.
The rear.
To make it feel more grown up.
Your tail.
And so first of all, I feel that. And then my second thought is, what posture am I supposed to be in for this shot? What are the options? I was like, do I lay down? Do I touch my toes? Like what? And I didn't know how to ask. I was like, how do you want to do this?
Can you tell me how we do this? Because I never knew this was actually going to happen to me again.
I was like, I did not know this.
I did not think this
is
is in the realm of possibility.
And so she says, yeah, you just like put your weight on your right side because I'm going to go, put it in the left. And you kind of just like lean over on the table a little bit. And then I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, well, I don't want to pull my pants all the way down. So I'm like, how do I commute? I was like, is this enough? It was just this weird. It was awful. It was truly awful.
This really this isn't connected to any of the trails.
I told you that. And you said chase it. And I just want to say that it was the most uncomfortable I've been in probably the past 5 years of my life. And it was the most absurd situation I've had at a doctor.
I'm going to bring up again what I think our regular listeners are saying or listening are thinking. Most of your awkwardness comes from you being unrobed somehow in your life.
Listen, the pool is one thing. Yes, it's a problem that I live in the community that I work in. And so I see everybody, but it's awesome too. Like it's really cool.
It's really awesome.
Seeing people at HEB is
the
great.
Awkwardness.
Seeing people at the pool is not great. But yeah, so this was my most recent frustration.
So your headache is better.
It's almost gone, but it has been a journey.
Do you know why you're having this headache?
No, and let me tell you this. When you're trying to get a neurologist, it's not easy, okay? So I got a referral from these people on Sunday. The guy that we referred to, they were like, oh no, he doesn't accept patients that aren't in the hospital. I was like, okay, well the doctor told me.
I'll meet him there.
Let's go. It's like, the doctor told me to call you. And I was like, is there anybody else at your practice? I said, oh, nobody before March. I was like, if I have a brain tumor, what am I supposed to do? Like March? Like, what are you talking about? How do people get help if they're like?
Do you want to make a bet on what you think it is?
Or
have you figured it out?
I don't know. It was when they went to the doctor on Sunday, they diagnosed like a really tension muscle like from my neck down, and so it's just some sort of like stress or tweak or something that's like just like.
Have you tried a chiropractor yet?
I did. I went to a chiropractor
Does
on
that
Monday.
help?
It got marginally better. It helped me get through the Monday night Christmas party, and I felt pretty good. So I did go to the chiropractor, and like I said, today I'm
that
almost
explains.
good.
I walked up to you at the Christmas party, and you looked at me like, "Why are you coming over here?" And I'm like, like one of my great friends on staff. And then there was awkwardness. I'm like, "Hey," and I'm like,
I gave you a side hug, a very, very mature.
I was like, "Hey, Justin," and
how I gave you a side hug.
Yeah, you weren't quite yourself though.
No, I wasn't.
You weren't quite yourself.
I haven't been.
Now I know that you'd had a shot, but let me just add to you the chiropractor thing.
Yeah,
it's an injury. Have you had an injury in the last?
No.
It can be in the last 6 months. A fall.
I think being with my family was a little stressful this year for a couple of different reasons, which I'm not going to go into. But it started happening that night, like Thursday after being with my family all day, and it kind of like didn't go away. And so, I don't know if it was like,
were you with your extended family?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was just a stressor. My mom is going through a hard time. When she goes through a hard time, she gets really emotional, and then everybody's like having all these emotions at Thanksgiving, and I'm not a big emotional person, and so it just kind of like really stressed me out. So I think that may have been the trigger because it's been a muscle tension thing.
A little tension that has now wrecked you.
Now that I've been away from my family for a week, I feel like I can finally breathe.
Sounds like you are an emotional person. You just process it differently.
Process it through headaches.
Yes. Yeah. Through physical, taking it in.
I would love to process it differently because the headache was not fun.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's miserable.
I'm feeling good.
Well, I'm pretty excited because we have some of our most wonderful things coming up for Christmas.
You cannot talk about that because this is coming after all those things have happened.
I thought you said our show's coming on December 18th.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought you were talking about your events coming up. Like Gingerbread House will have already happened. KP and All have already happened.
No.
Okay.
I was going to talk about how I think we leave all that in.
I love to leave it in.
Because the reason I say that is
if they've made it this far, they deserve to see behind the veil.
I'm the one who never has the dates right.
Well, I thought you were talking about like your upcoming Christmas event.
No, I even text you today.
Yeah.
When is this coming out?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Oh, Christmas Eve. Okay.
At our church, at these locations, is so special. Mm-hmm. And, we have an amazing children's moment with all the kids come up. They get a treat.
Do you know what the treat is yet?
Yes, it's a cookie. It's always a cookie.
I love a cookie.
It's a dependable. The kids love it. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about that. But everybody being together, and everybody being together, just awaiting the day, celebrating the Savior, the candlelight moment. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
The worship is amazing. And this is a weird thing to say, but everybody smells pretty good. Everybody just has this freshness and everybody's with their family for the most part.
What campus are you going to be at? Do you know?
I'm going to be at Bel Air this year.
How do you feel about that? Because you've been at Westview for
like 6 years.
Yeah.
It'll be a big difference. I'm excited because I love Bel Air.
Yeah. You're done earlier, 3 and 5 instead of 4 and 6.
And I was at Bel Air 5 years before I moved to West.
Bel Air was the church that you came to.
Yes.
When you were church shopping, that's home. Where you landed.
Yes. So that'll be really cool to be back there, to get to be there at Christmas. So I'm excited about that time for our church. Yeah. I think it's such a sweet time. And it's on all 3 campuses.
Sure.
So CityRise, Missouri City, WestU, and of course Bel Air. And I'm just excited. Now, how many are you going to have to attend?
I usually go to 2, one at Bel Air and one at Westview. I don't make it out to Missouri City.
Let me explain to our listeners, I guess, / viewers, even though I keep telling people, stop watching me on YouTube, but whatever. You always come and let me know how I actually did in the children's moment.
I always say you did a good job, though.
You'll come up, you go, you did a good job. The other one, they had a really cool prop. You could probably have used a prop. Yours had a lot of energy. Theirs was a little bit more deep spiritually.
You're ridiculous.
You actually kind of move into some comparative discussion.
Here's the deal. Hands down, people's favorite part of Christmas Eve is you.
That
is,
feels
don't even push back
weird.
on that. Don't even push back on that.
That feels weird.
People love your kids' moment. They do.
I think they love to see all these children come up. Oh my goodness. And they are adorable.
And of course the music they love. And
they always say something crazy.
But you are, if someone's looking for levity in a Christmas Eve service, you're really the only outlet for that. Not saying that the other parts are not important and good, the somberness of the candle and the celebration of the music and the message, all those things, but their vibe is not levity. Right. And so you're the only release
I think for them, levity is hard because they are, and I say this about both of our worship leaders, actually Jeff included, all of them, they are very, very, very good at what they do, and they care very much about the seriousness of it.
Yeah.
So usually I think levity comes out of a little mistake, a little something we weren't planning.
But they don't make mistakes.
Bingo.
That's the thing. They're too good.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one up there kind of free-wielding it.
That is 100% true.
Like a marshmallow caught on fire at a cookout.
Because Roger does the sermon 4 times. So he's
his
like,
is down
I mean,
pat.
there's no mistake.
He has everything.
Yes.
So the only wild moment is the kids' moment.
Yeah, the worship team has been doing the Christmas music all month. So nothing's new to them.
Yep.
Like, you really are the one.
You know what's so funny is they look at me like, oh, here she comes.
No one does that. You're
She's
ridiculous.
Like, oh,
no one pities you.
This is gonna be weird.
No.
But Paul is the one. He's so funny. He gives me little tips in here.
Oh yeah.
I think he could probably be excited about a little less levity sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But it'll be interesting because Elizabeth Lee will be leading WestU this year. She's really excited. She's planning a beautiful moment. We're working together. So I'm excited about that.
No, it's going to be great. If you want to learn more about our Christmas Eve services, cityrise.org/Christmas is where you would go to find the times of all of our activities on Christmas Eve. And then the following Sunday on the 29th, we only have one service at Bel Air in West U. And then I think in Missouri City, they're only doing it's 11. And then I think at Missouri City, they're only doing their 9:30 English and their 11 o'clock Spanish. I don't think they're doing groups.
We also, for the children, are giving them busy bags. They have a little color page, some crayons, and then we put a little squishy mochi in there they can just kind of squish and keep in their fingers. And then we give them a little bit of candy treat.
You know what? If you just gave my son a bag of loose rocks, I think he'd be happy. You know,
just organize the rocks, put them in an array.
A busy bag for him is just, he wants, like, he's gotten to where we go to a restaurant, or we were walking the neighborhood the other day, and he just like grabbed a handful of like decorative lawn rocks. It's like, you can't just, people paid for these rocks. Like, these aren't free rocks.
And these people all have cameras. Yeah. So they're
like at Chili's, he'll get in the car after being at Chili's, have these 3 rocks. Like, we can't take these. Like, people paid for these rocks to be here. We got to put them back further. But in his head, he thinks any rock on the ground is his.
It's true.
So if you gave him a bag of rocks, I think he'd be happy.
I think you're right. I think a lot of people feel that way about rocks, but no, that's not always the case. But so kids will have something to kind of keep them busy.
Yep.
So I highly encourage people to come, bring your kids and bring your neighbors. You know what? I watched this movie this weekend. This is my question for today that we're going to address in the middle of the show.
Let's go for it. No rules.
Because I don't know where we are in the show without a guest. Your favorite Christmas movie?
Yeah.
What is it?
It is Home Alone. And fortunately, my kids have fallen in love with it as well. Bear watched it, I think, 5 times already.
Okay.
This month.
That's so wild that you say that, because I watched Home Alone this past Thanksgiving weekend or the weekend after.
Yeah.
For the first time in years.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years. You see a little part here, a little part there, but I made myself sit down and watch the entire thing.
Yeah.
That is such a great movie.
I love it.
And Olivia came in right at the end of it. She's like, "You're watching Home Alone?" And I just look at her, and she did not want this talk, but I said, "It's such a great talk about courage, about forgiveness.
Sure.
It's such a great discussion about love and appreciation." And Liv's like, "Mom, it's like funny, right?" And I was like, "Yes, it's just so much in that." But I love the part of the church with the forgiveness and the families in the church watching the granddaughter sing. It's just something is beautiful about Christmas with forgiveness, fresh starts.
What's funny about that movie to me is that it seems like no matter how old the movie gets, there's watching grown men get beat up at the end is funny to children. Like, that's what brings them in, is the humor of it, of course. And it was interesting to watch my kids like just laugh so loud at these gags. And I was like, I cannot believe this is 30 years later and these jokes are still making kids
still great
cry. I mean, it is timeless. But yes, as you get older, you can appreciate the actual like message and the encouragement.
I don't think I've pulled into the messages deeply as I did. And for me, like, my favorite my favorite Christmas movies change and adjust every year. But man, Home Alone
It's
was
classic.
killing it this
So good.
year for me.
So good.
We always watch Elf.
Yep.
And I love that's a completely
My kids have
different
strong
message.
opinions against Elf for some reason.
They do not like it.
I don't understand.
That is so interesting.
It's wild to me because I think it's very funny.
Oh, I think it's great.
I don't think it has as many messages of hope and encouragement and forgiveness.
I think it's about belief.
Sure.
I think it's about faith.
Okay.
I think it's about new starts.
All
I think
right.
it's about
Wow, you're really getting deep in these
Well, I
movies.
think it's about, I mean, don't you? I think it's about courageous, finding, finding your belonging or who
what about
you really
Santa
are.
Claus? What's that about?
That comes back to the faith. That's the classic Peter Pan. They have to have faith in Santa. I don't think it's a strong Jesus message, but I do think that we also like Christmas Vacation, but that's just purely
I have
mostly
not
humor.
seen it. It's a very Gen X movie, and so if you didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like that was y'all's movie. I never really got it.
What? You've never seen Christmas Vacation?
Mm-mm. I think because I had a bad word in it, my family was always like, we're not watching this.
Listen, Justin.
I'm just saying, I think it's got at least one bad word.
What you've got to do is you got to shut everything down because my kid cannot make it through movies anymore. They're too slow now.
Sure.
So you have to shut everything down and get into watching this.
Mm-hmm.
It is hysterical. There are some of the funniest parts. It is amazing. Another thing that people like to watch is Christmas Story. That
People
may
also like that
also
one.
be a Gen X one.
I have watched it, but it's because my father-in-law loves it. He made us watch it one year.
Yes, that's a classic
I
one
didn't.
too.
And I think he likes it because it may have came out when Gen X, but it was about the 50s or the 60s. You know what I'm saying? So I think it feels like his youth.
This is why I think we should do this show live sometimes so people can comment their favorite.
Yeah.
Like Andy's is the classic.
Die Hard.
No,
course.
he does love Die Hard. What's the most classic black and white? It's a
Wonderful
Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one all the way through.
I think I maybe
hate
have
to admit
one. It's a commitment.
It's pretty long. It's pretty hard,
It's a
but he
commitment.
loves that one. In
Wow.
fact, we've named one of our dogs after George
Oh,
Bailey.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, and I love the streaming services have made Christmas movies so much more accessible. Like for a while, you're like, I didn't own Home Alone. I only got to watch it if it was on TV, but now
Right.
that it's on Disney Plus or whatever, like there's so many you can watch. It's
You know
really
what we
exciting.
don't do now? This is a Gen X comment.
Okay.
So this is for the older, some of my little friends, is we used to watch these shows that were like a claymation.
Yes,
And it was like the New Year one, and then there was a Rudolph one,
Mhm.
and it was just this claymation. And I cannot with enough expression tell how much we love those things. We love
We
them.
watched Rudolph a lot. The Rudolph one we watched a lot growing up.
It was, and the baby New Year, something about that baby kept getting lost and
I
the
don't
father
know what that
time.
was.
And it was,
There's one where there's a fire guy and an ice guy too.
I want to say that that's the New Year one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I may be wrong, but I
Okay.
say all that to say those are so classic.
Mhm.
That's Gen X. If you want to,
Well, that's what
reach
Elf
their
was based
heart.
off of. Like Elf, their costume design was based off that Rudolph.
that Rudolph. If you want to hit the heart of a Gen Xer and take them right back to 1977,
Mhm.
those are the.
What about Christmas albums? Are there Christmas albums that like?
I think
you
there's a
love?
classic one that my grandparents played every year.
Okay.
I've gotta find it, but
Yeah.
it was I saw Mom kissing Santa Claus. It was We Wish You a Merry Christmas. It was this
Yeah.
classic. It may have been Bing Crosby
Maybe.
or it was a classic. Do
Mhm.
you?
Oh yeah. First of all, Dolly and Kenny have the Christmas album.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Is that the one with Hard Candy Christmas? That's one of Andy's favorite songs.
It's a great
Hard Candy Christmas.
Yes, it's so good. Okay, and so we listened to that a lot growing up. And then the Charlie Brown Christmas album is really good. It's very jazzy. My grandmother loved
It
that.
is a great
She'd
jazzy.
always play that. And so all the ones I like are nostalgic. Really, really good. I will say CeeLo Green, and he's a controversial figure, but he put out a Christmas album a few years ago, and it is life-changing. It is so good. It is
Really?
so
It's
good.
that good, huh?
It is so good. And then also as far as like modern stuff, any of the Phil Wickham has a couple of Christmas albums and they're very good. Like they are,
That's cool. Yeah, I'm not
they're
into.
worshipful and like modern takes, but they're really, really good.
I think as we, it's been a lot this year. It's been a crazy year. It's been a lot that's gone on. And I'm just excited about the hope of Christmas. I'm excited about again, I think in this time we're just like wrapping, buying, going, celebrating. And it's, I've got to slow things down and really focus on the hope who's Jesus. Just it's so much, for some reason, Easter's a lot more easier for me to hone in on the Christ, the resurrection, the meaningfulness. I get a little wonky with Christmas because everything's so busy, but I really want, our kids are studying Moses. They're studying the story of Moses. And this weekend they're talking about Pharaoh and when Moses stands up to Pharaoh. And I'm seeing the parallels of Moses and Jesus. And I was talking to our leaders about, Moses was such a feature of hope of being set free. He was going to set him free. And I remember they were after Moses when he was born, like they were trying to kill all of the firstborn. And then when Jesus was born, they were trying to kill Jesus. And Jesus is the same symbol of hope and I've just been resting in that and trying to really think about the power of hope in our lives.
Right.
And I think some of us, if we're going through difficult times, it's been a rough year, we're on this precipice of hard things happening, to remember that God always has hope planned. He always has hope planned. Like he's 100,000 steps ahead of us. I mean, he allowed Moses to be born into Pharaoh's family and also an Israelite. And that was way before he came along. And when he came along, God's like, I've placed you in this spot for this reason, for this moment.
Yeah. I think the secular adoption of the Christmas holiday has made it hard to focus on the meaning of it.
I think,
and I'm not just saying
absolutely right.
I'm not just saying the commercialization of Christmas, but like the fact that our school does Christmas activities that are not intended to honor or celebrate Jesus. It's just busyness.
Right.
There's so much extra stuff that's been added to our plates that we can't focus on.
You can fully celebrate Christmas for several weeks without ever connecting it to Jesus Christ.
And Easter is special because it has not been adopted as drastically by,
it's funny. I was a teacher at one point and this child walked up to me and he goes, "Hey, Miss Dennis, I'm Jewish. Are you a Christian?" I said, sure. He goes, "Well, can you explain elves to this kid?" And I was like,
"It's like, this is from your faith."
I was like, I hate that I'm going to have to enter
with that.
I hate that I'm going to have to enter in this conversation. But I agree. It does get busy. So I think the challenge for us is to take the moments of solitude, of time away with God, and to tell him, our gratitude for the hope that he brings, the new life that we're walking through in our church right now through the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, Advent. And it's a beautiful journey to the exciting arrival of Jesus.
Yeah, no, it's a great season to work at a church. It's a tiring season to work at a church. It's
a delicious season.
Literally
to work at a church.
3 days in a row starting tomorrow. I'm at an event taking pictures because everything's happening.
This is why I want to stay at this church forever. Today, I'm sitting there putting on my makeup in the car, stopped, not driving, and I'm watching these ladies, many of whom are over 90 years old.
Yeah.
And they are being kind of dropped off or walked in. They have their walkers and they are all making their way into the ladies' Christmas lunch. And it's our senior ladies. And I just thought they have community here.
Yeah.
They have belonging here. They have a church that loves them here.
Right.
And I thought, I want to always be in church for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm just so inspired by them.
Yeah. We recorded some videos, to celebrate what God's done in our church and also to inspire people to maybe think about how they might give towards their church at the end of the year. And so we invite these 4 couples in and we just ask them, like, what do you love? Essentially, what do you love about this church? Or what have you been excited about God doing, so that we can celebrate that and say, hey, this is what we do as a church. Like, this is why it's important to be part of our church. And every single one of them, without prompting, talked about their community group and how they found community here. Regardless of the age, they talk about their kids, they talk about themselves, but every single one unprompted, their immediate immediate reaction was like, the people that I've connected with here have been, have changed my life and my faith, like over and over without even leading them. It was such an
Right.
open-ended, what do you love about our church? And every single person
this was
said,
going to be a marriage promotion, but now we're tacking it on to the small group
but
building.
everybody said the people. And so it was really encouraging to edit those videos and cut them up into YouTube or Instagram clips, and to be reminded of like how much we need community and how it's so almost impossible to find outside of a church context. And so it's exciting that of all the changes that Christianity has faced, of all the developments that the churches have gone through, we don't do church the same way that they did when Jesus was around. Like, it's totally different, but unrelenting community has been like the cornerstone of why we should be together. Like
Amen.
God built us to be in community, and the church continues to fight for opportunities and spaces for people to have that community. And
That's good.
And I love that it's never changed. I love that of all the different traditions that may come and go or morph throughout the years, this idea that like we're the body of Christ and we got to be together is at the corner of everything we do. Everything we do is about bringing people together for Jesus with Jesus.
Amen.
And so if you come to anything this month, or
That's
especially
good. Wrap
Christmas
up,
Eve,
Justin, look at that.
yeah, thanks. Christmas Eve is about that. It's, we want you to come and bring your family and be a part of our community. And then starting in January, it's a great time to get plugged in. If you
Amen.
have not been in a community,
Jump in with
if you feel weird jumping in the middle of a semester, like January is the time to explore.
It's a good time.
Joining a small group at our churches. And if you need any help with that, any staff member would stop in their tracks to walk you to a class and say, this is a great group for you. Like, just ask for some guidance. I know it can be overwhelming, but the community that our church provides for people that are 90 years old and 1 year old is really, really special. And, January is a great time to get plugged in.
Amen. That's great, Justin. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much, Justin, for visiting with me.
I guess we got to make some New Year plans.
And we will make some New Year's plans. We may be out for a little bit. You may not see us for a week or so, 2 weeks, 3, whatever. We're taking a break. And we'll see you in the new year. And we hope you've had an almost amazing time in this almost amazing podcast during this almost amazing year. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Almost Amazing podcast from the CityRise Network based in Houston, Texas. CityRise is a partnership of church campuses, nonprofits, and missionaries devoted to lifting our city and the world by generously giving the gospel of Jesus Christ. For more information or to find a church campus close to you in the Houston area, visit cityrise.org.